just joined us on the System After Dark, this is a homegrown number courtesy of E3 and Cracker. Bulla, how's it going? I'm D, your host on the System After Dark, right here on Today FM. Today's hit music. You can catch me weeknights at 7 p.m. That's from Monday to Friday, only on the home of Today's hit music. And don't forget, that's D with you every weeknight on the System After Dark. Even got that homebrew flowing.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. In the bulletin tonight, government proposes Constitution Day public holiday next year. Changes in sugar industry discussed in Parliament. And Sadelpa MPs dismiss claims of a split in the party. Government has announced a new public holiday called Constitution Day that will be observed on September 7th from next year. Attorney General Ayaz Sayed Qayyum moved the Employment Relations Amendment Bill 2015 for urgent consideration by Parliament. The amendment to the bill will be debated in Parliament tomorrow.
People will get to know about the merits of the Constitution. It will be ingrained into our society. Many countries, Madam Speaker, uphold the Constitution in very high regard. Unfortunately, some members on the other side don't. And Madam Speaker, the reality is that we need to create an awareness about the Constitution.
Well, all existing public holidays remain. Two motions concerning the sugar industry have been passed in Parliament. The Attorney General Ayaz Sayed Qayyum moved a motion to amend the Sugarcane Growers Fund Bill 2015 and Sugarcane Industry Amendment Bill. Ritika Pratap reports.
31 ayes.
Attorney General Ayaz Sayed Qayyum said the amendment to the Sugarcane Growers Fund Bill 2015 is necessary in order to regularize the appointing authority of the membership to the board under the minister instead of drawing members of the board from the Sugar Commission of Fiji, which was dissolved in August 2009. He says the board of directors of the Sugarcane Growers Council also became redundant following the termination of 38 members of the council in March 2010. He says the amendment provided in the bill enables the board to function efficiently and effectively with full membership.
The bill proposes, Madam Speaker, to amend the composition of the board so that members of the board and its chairpersons are appointed by the minister. Therefore, the bill amends Section 7 of the Act to ensure that the minister appoints the members of the board and its chairperson.
The motion was passed by 32 votes. The second motion on Sugarcane Industry Amendment Bill 2015 proposes to amend the composition of the council to reflect the Cabinet's decision in 2010 so that the members of the board are reduced and appointed by the minister responsible for the sugar industry. Sayed Qayyum says the amendments to the Act are envisaged to legitimize the appointment of the 9-member council, give the cane growers a voice with representatives from the association, and allow the council to operate smoothly with a smaller membership.
With regard to the membership of the council, Madam Speaker, the council will now consist of 9 members as proposed in the bill. 6, as I said earlier on, from the Cane Producers Association in the major cane growing areas in Fiji. They are elected members, Madam Speaker, by the cane farmers themselves. They have their own constitution. The Commissioner Northern and the Commissioner Western, for obvious reasons, because these are the main cane growing areas in Fiji. And a representative from the Ministry of Sugar.
However, opposition MPs Professor Biman Prasad and Tupo Dorindalo had requested for the bill to be debated later in the Parliament.
This is going to be a very historical mistake that we would be making by destroying that cohesiveness, that understanding, that ability of farmers to build an organization where they can vote, where they can fight, where they can discuss, and the Growers' Council would be a legitimate body.
We may have a very good Minister for Sugar now, but what about the future Minister for Sugar? We can't leave these things in one person's discretion. It's about a precedent that we are setting, and we should always think of that. That's why it's better if people who are concerned elected their reps directly.
The motion to debate the bill was passed by 32 votes, and the bill will be debated in Parliament tomorrow. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Is there a rift within the majority opposition party, SODELPA? It's a question we put to some of their members outside of Parliament today after SODELPA MP Mosasem Bulitavu made further statements that he and a number of other MPs have lost confidence in their leader, Ro Temumukepa. Maggie Boyle reports.
Opposition SODELPA MP Mosasem Bulitavu did not attend today's session. He has taken 1 week leave in the hope that concerns he raised about the SODELPA leadership will be resolved. During a break in today's parliamentary session, we tried to speak to leader Ro Temumukepa.
No comments to you.
With regards
I would
to your
love to
statement.
speak to you.
We then tried Ratu Suliano Matanitambua, Chiosefa Ndulakiverata and Viliame Ngavoka.
SODELPA and what's happening?
Rift within your party?
No
Any
comment.
comments? Is there two different factions perhaps? Do you belong to the Kepa faction or the other faction?
You guys made it up, okay? I mean,
We made up the rift?
You blew it out of...
So there is no rift?
Opposition MP Semesa Karavaki insisting there is no rift.
No rift, no rift.
What do you have to say to that report that circulated?
Well, that's the speculation people can come up with. It's always far from reality. Reality is something that you have to really be sincere in trying to find out. When you find reality, there's always peace.
And the statement by Mosasem Bulitavu on obviously asking for the leader of SODELPA to step down?
Do you expect things to be, according to what you read, or?
He sent me that statement, sir.
Yeah. Do you take it at face value, or you'll take it? Oh, there must be another meaning to it.
So there's another meaning to him saying
Of
that
course.
your leader is disillusioned?
Of course.
Prime Minister and Fiji First Leader Vorenga Bainimarama says it's a matter for the party to sort out.
I don't have any comments. I think I leave the SODELPA problems to SODELPA.
Bulitavu, who had also threatened to resign, spoke to Radio New Zealand International saying most of us have lost confidence, and as a matter of fact it is not only because of her leadership, it's the advisors that she frequently seeks opinion from. Last week Temumu issued a statement denouncing a rift. She said Bulitavu is out to criticize her leadership and smear her and other officials. SODELPA will hold a management board meeting to discuss Bulitavu's complaint. Party President Ratunangama Lalambalavu, who was in Australia, is scheduled to return this week to convene the meeting. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
A member of the opposition has voted across the floor on one of the bills tabled in Parliament today. There were 33 votes in favour of the tax amnesty bill, whereas there are only 32 government MPs. This means an opposition MP has voted for the bill, which received 12 noes from the floor. The voting sheet this evening has not been released by the Parliament Secretariat. National Federation Party leader Biman Prasad says all political parties have issues which they need to sort out internally. Prasad, speaking to FBC News, didn't wish to comment on the supposed rift in the Social Democratic Liberal Party. One of the matters of contention within SODELPA is his appointment as the chair of the Public Accounts Committee.
Well, I don't think that's an issue. It was a reference, but as far as I'm concerned, I am a nominee of the leader of the opposition, and that's where things stand.
Prasad says while NFP is copied in emails about matters concerning SODELPA, the NFP does not want to comment on them. Stay tuned, coming up, dead fish wash ashore along Narcissa seawall in Suva.
Number 2 in the series na kona nindan naman na kay Central Rental sa mga kanya minichi me ba na koloko. Ni sabula.
Oya wa watisoni dalai.
Gua ngai mo sidon.
Na makikirau bena tolu kena betu. Ena via kabi, moliti kena porombuka.
Gua dia na lali ne kabi. Bula FM number 2 in the series.
Welcome back to FBC News. 4 men appeared in the Tavua Magistrates Court today, charged with 1 count each of sedition and urging political violence. Marika Ngalo, Manueli Nandakula, Tevita Damundamu and Chese Vatusumu have all been remanded in custody to appear in the Rakiraki Magistrates Court on Wednesday. The state asked for the accused to be remanded due to the seriousness of the charges and the continuing police investigation into the use of firearms. A total of 70 people have now been charged for alleged seditious activities. The Ministry of Fisheries is investigating what appears to be a massive marine mishap following the discovery of dead fish at the Nasese foreshore in Suva today. Hundreds of dead fish that lay scattered on the shoreline baffled many people. FBC News informed the Fisheries Ministry, which then sent its staff to collect samples of the fish to be tested at the University of the South Pacific Laboratory in Suva. Fisheries Officer Katanga Tokambwembwe says he cannot verify the species of the dead fish nor comment on what might have caused their death. Opposition MP Semesa Karavaki has filed a petition requesting Parliament review and redress the police back pay payout this year. A job evaluation exercise in 2004 suggested a 30% pay increase be awarded to police officers and other members of the disciplined forces. However, Karavaki claims the payout had many anomalies and created confusion.
For example, Madam Speaker, there are two officers of the same rank. They started the same year. One received $140 and the other received $7,000. That kind of anomaly, Madam Speaker, is unexplainable.
The petition is signed by 28 police officers and has been forwarded to the Parliamentary Committee of Justice, Law and Human Rights. Parliament will tomorrow debate a bill on the tax amnesty currently being administered by the Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority. Finance Minister Ayaz Said Kayum says the bill gives legal backing to the amnesty, which allows locals to declare assets overseas. People who earn income from any form of investment overseas are legally obliged to declare it and pay tax.
What we hear from the market is that if we actually made an amendment, because there's a distrust of FERCA, that somebody in FERCA might decide to change their mind and, assess them. So what we're hearing from the public, that if we put it in law, then they feel a lot more secure, because there are a lot more people who have assets offshore who are yet to declare it. So given, Madam Speaker, the fact that the amnesty runs out in October, this is why this matter is urgent.
$17 million has so far been declared to FERCA. Minister for Trade and Tourism Fayaz Koya says the Fijian Trade Framework Policy aims to ensure continuing the coordinated and consistent approach to our national development agenda. Koya made the statement in response to a question from opposition parliamentarian Netani Rika about the benefits of the framework. Alan Stoltz reports.
Minister for Trade Fayaz Koya explained that the core functions of the framework is to bring together all trade investment related agencies to have a coordinated approach to growing trade and investment opportunities.
It's a 10-year document, Madam Speaker, which has a mid-term review. And however, yearly and two-yearly reviews will be undertaken to ensure that the implementation is on track and also to take into account new or revised recommendations to enhance the framework.
Opposition members raised a number of concerns regarding the framework and whether it would indeed create employment or boost Fiji's economy. Koya said the framework has a precise and detailed matrix that spells out the policy measures and strategies that would drive and enhance domestic as well as international trade.
The National Trade and Development Council, which is chaired by the Minister for Industry, Trade and Tourism, will be the main implementation vehicle of this framework and will report to Cabinet, Madam Speaker. It is a forum where trade, investment, industry and business-related issues will be discussed and strategies developed and implemented accordingly.
Koya says the framework implementation mechanism is an all-inclusive process on all levels. This includes the government, civil society, as well as the private sector. Ellen Stalls, FBC News.
Negotiations on the pricing of the houses earmarked for the Wela housing development in Nosori is still underway. Minister for Local Government Praveen Bala says the design bill and master agreement with the Asian company Top Symphony was signed in 2012 and is valid for 7 years.
If we fail in this deal, that does not mean the development will stop. But I can assure this House that there is some positive signs. But at the same time, we all must understand that that development took place to provide housing for the very poor people.
Bala was responding to a question posed by opposition MP Josefa Delakiverata in Parliament today, who asked what time frame is in place between the Housing Authority and the contractor to develop Wela City. The position of women within the Methodist Church is going to be examined. The president of the Methodist Church, Reverend Tevita Nawandra, revealed this when he opened the annual conference of the church in Suva today. Julie Vatuwaliwali reports.
Today marks the first day of the Methodist Church Annual Conference 2015, and the church will make major changes, especially in the role of women.
One of the major changes was the position of women. The position of women, usually before we have the deaconesses, even though they are ordained, they were not regarded as sort of ordained, they were regarded as lay people. And that's what we wanted to clear, that they are ordained.
Nawandra says deaconesses also play a very important role in the church.
The deaconesses are like the deacon. They are the orders that look after the services of the church, the deacon's role.
Tomorrow's agenda will discuss changes of the church's code of conduct and the connectional plan, focusing on encouraging church members in Fiji to have a closer relationship with the God they serve. Julie Vatuwaliwali, FBC News.
Well, we have sports up next, and Jamie joins us now with the latest.
Thank you, Amrita, and good evening. In sports tonight, Fiji to bid for first South Pacific Special Olympic Games, and the latest from the Flying Fijians, who are back at training today. This and more coming up.
छू 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 हे हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपकी हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची, इट्स हॉट।
The Vodafone Flying Fijians today had its first training session since the final team to the Rugby World Cup was named. The John McKee coach side has less than 3 weeks before playing host England in the World Cup opening match. Rohit Deo has more.
A relief for these players to have made it to the final squad to the World Cup, but things don't get any easier for them. The training this week will mostly focus on the ruck areas before the side departs next week.
We'll do quite a bit of work around the ruck area. That's going to be a big area in the Rugby World Cup, and contest. I mean, teams will try to slow our ball down. We need to be very effective at making sure we get good, clean, quick ball without putting too many players in. But we also have to be very disciplined in that area so that we don't give away penalties for side entry or off your feet or hands in the ruck.
Sunia Koto will be taking part in his third World Cup and says this team is one of the best ever.
I guess this team has got a lot of talent. We've got a lot of individual talent in our squad, and I think along the years they've matured as rugby players.
In contrast to Koto, this will be Leroy Atalifo's first World Cup, and the prop is already mixing it with seasoned campaigners.
It was a blessing to be in the team, and I'm grateful for that. And every day in training is a learning session for me, and I've been trying hard to be in this team, and I'm happy to be training the team.
Having said that, the forward knows it won't be easy for him and the team.
It will be a tough one for me, but I've been learning a lot from the experienced boys and the coaches. They've been helping me out with the scrummagings and the lineouts, and it'll be tough, but I'm looking forward for a good challenge coming this World Cup.
It is that time in preparations when the players are needed to give their utmost best and learn as many tricks as possible, and wouldn't that be handy against teams like England, Australia and Wales? The side plays England on 19 September at 7 a.m. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
The government says it will do all it can to help Fiji win the bid to host the inaugural South Pacific Special Olympic Games in 2017. Minister of Sports, Laisine Tuitumbo, made the comment while answering questions raised in Parliament today on Fiji's recent performance and participation at the Special Olympics in the USA. Tuitumbo says Fijian special athletes had shown they were amongst the best in the world, and it will be great for the country to host the regional event.
Madam Speaker, as your Sports Minister, I wouldn't want Fiji to miss out the great opportunity to becoming the first nation, a Pacific nation, to host the first South Pacific Special Olympic Games in 2017. We hosted the first South Pacific Games in 1963, and let us be the first to host these games, this special game.
The Tuckers Ice Cream Secondary School's basketball tournament started in Suva today with 48 boys and girls teams from around the country competing in the under 15, 17 and 19 grades. Rohit Deo has more.
Schools from around the country have gathered in Suva for the annual basketball meet. The competition level has improved compared to past years.
I guess this year's tournament has been, for the first day, it has been great, and been looking at the schools challenging each other, and we hope to get the outcome at the end of the day.
The schools are competing in the under 15, 17 and 19 grades. The organizers have called on the students at home who are idle and would want to spend their holidays witnessing some good basketball.
If you're free at home, you can come down and join the rest of the schools or the students and teachers in this year's tournament.
A wise way for these kids to spend their break, and who knows, our future national team players may be playing at this tournament. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
Sports journalists from around the country have come together to form the Fijian Sports Journalist Association. In a meeting in Suva today, sports reporters, editors and heads of local media organizations came together to get the ball rolling. The association will be responsible for looking after the interests of sports journalists around the country while working closely with the Fijian Media Association and ONOC. Indra Singh of FPC has been elected interim president. Vashnil Prasad from Fiji Television is interim secretary, and Fiji Sun's Anasalini Ratuva is interim treasurer. That was your sports for this evening. It's back to Amrita with business.
Exporters and importers are being warned to be wary of people posing as Biosecurity Authority of Fiji agents. Some corrupt authorized agents are marking up services provided and imposing further fees for payments already made, then pocketing the money. Others who are just posing as BAF agents are conning exporters and importers by illegally imposing biosecurity and quarantine fees. A joint statement from BAF and the Fiji Commerce Commission says such behavior is criminal and those responsible will face the full force of the law. Fine weather was experienced all over the country today. Strong southerly winds brought us clear skies and dry conditions following a week of very wet weather. Savasawa recorded a high of 26 while Ba managed 30 degrees today. The forecast called for fine weather tomorrow with a chance of brief showers over the southern parts of the group, the interior and southern parts of the larger islands. Now the outlook for Wednesday, fine apart from brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands. The main points again. Government has announced a new public holiday called Constitution Day that will be observed on September 7th from next year. And 4 men appeared in the Tavua Magistrates Court today charged with 1 count each of sedition and urging political violence. Onto our poll segment, the results from last week. 94% of people said the Hibiscus Festival is not up to the standard of previous years. This week we ask, are current measures for PSV inspection adequate? You can visit our FPC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email, citizenseyes@fpc.com.fj, or share it with us via our Facebook page, FPC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FPC News or simply hashtag FPC News. You've been watching FPC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. Good night.